All right, what's up, all you crazy people out there? Hinterland Customs, second video. First one I did covered some build progress I had with the German tank and the U.S. Marine Corps F-18 Hornet 172nd scale jet, and then the buddy build I'm starting with James Duff of the Stash Report. I don't have this written out, so I'll just say, yeah, I had a good video out there by Coen Scale Modeling, and he was one of a couple people I conferred to on trying to what people how they organize stuff, because my room was kind of it was a Frankenstein, if you will, and it worked for me and it was okay at first, but after 4 years or 5 years with this configuration, it just it got there was too much stuff in here. Every countertop space, every table space was covered, and everything on the shelf was full. And so I was like, well, I'm gonna have to do something if I'm gonna stay in this room and build. So first thing I always do with something like that is I just went through and threw away anything that needed to be thrown away. So just took it a bit at a time. Like there's a 6 foot long table. I just take half of it and I scoop all that into everything off of there, like into a box. I just go through it, throw out what I need, and then just the whole point was trying to get rid of table space so I don't have stuff sitting everywhere. It just I don't know. It just muddles vision. I think a cluttered. They say kind of that with the like hoarders, maybe hoarders. Like if your place is cluttered really bad, it's not like really good on your mental health. Maybe I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but I could definitely see where that is. It's kind of distracting and it's just becomes stuff. And so anyway, went through the one side of the wall here and I'll do a brief cave video later, but got rid of about 40% probably. I mean, well, I threw away about 35-40%. And then I changed the theme of the room because I had like 3 or 4 hobbies going on in here. So all the video game stuff went out to the living room where I've got a new television. And then that back wall there, I took out all the television and the shelving and all that came down and went out. And just made it a blank slate again. I am going to reincorporate on that wall music because I want to listen to music when I'm working. I don't listen to it on my phone because I'm an audiophile and I own vinyl records. And if you have vinyl records you like to listen to them, you have to listen to them through a system. They sound really good when you've got them through a receiver and amp and some speakers. They don't have to be huge speakers like the Rolling Stones would use at a concert. They can be bookshelf speakers, but it's I've got ones that are a little bit bigger than that, but it's just good to listen to it through there. So I'll do a video on that in time. I'm getting the shelving set up right now for that. So the music side will be good, and that'll just be music. The other 2 walls will be the hobby room. Yeah, and then anyway, the next part that was good, I want to do 2 videos on this maybe, but the next part was getting rid of stuff on the tables. Some of it has to go somewhere. So as you can see, I still got some stuff in the background there. I did clean out my hobby bench tool organizer. I'd probably get rid of half the stuff that was in there. You think, oh, how much stuff do you have to get rid of? Well, there's old paint that isn't good anymore. I have lots of that from God. Some of it's like from when I was building cars back in 90 or 99, 2000. And some of that old enamel paint, I don't even want it anymore. I don't care if it is good. I don't want it because I'm never going to use it again. So, and most of it dries up. So it wasn't like I lost a ton of money on it. I mean, I had a few jars here and there, but it adds up to space being taken up. So that went out. Threw away a ton of paintbrushes. I do take very good care of my paintbrushes, but I had some that I had used and used and used. I got my money's worth out of them, and they were trash. And I don't, and I had other good brushes that I wasn't using, so I got rid of a ton of those, and that made a little bit of room too. And then it's just finding a place for everything. I'd have I think everybody's gone through this, where I'd have like a little plastic container and it would have some diorama materials in it and some car stuff and some tweezers and some paint that was meant for airplanes or something. It was just a lot of mixed up stuff like that kind of happened as I was moving along building and just throwing things back in the containers and not taking the time to organize as well. So anyway, took care of all that. That got rid of more stuff. But the main thing is getting drawers. I never thought about using drawers a lot. I had some, like I've got a lot of plastic containers in this room, I've got a plastic 3-drawer tote thing over here to my left that works good. But I got a bureau drawer and just set it up. Let's see. Excuse the mess, but just that one right there. So that bureau drawer, and it's an oldie. That's been in my family, and so it's probably. I'm trying to think how old is this. My uncle graduated in the 50s. Yeah, it was built in the 40s, probably. About 80. Yeah, it'd be probably 80 years old. Still works great. Probably could have used one a little bigger, but this one worked out. And I kept telling myself, like, you got to get rid of stuff. Like, this is just, too much. I got rid of 2 models. And I was planning on those 2 to go. They just, those had to go anyway because I ended up dumping 3 of them off a shelf in their cases. One of the cases cracked, so it was gone. So that was kind of a blessing in disguise. I kept one. The Foose pickup survived, just lost its grill, so I could put that back in. And that's a really good build that I like, that I want to hang on to for a while. I guess this display. I recycled a couple of diorama bases. Didn't need them. I didn't recycle them. I chucked them. And I know one time I wanted to chuck one, and it was just a 12-inch by 12-inch. It's a 10-inch by 10-inch piece of wood that I just used, like a little piece of plywood that I made a post-apocalypse highway on. And again, served its purpose. I was in a hangout, and someone's like, no, recycle it. And I was like, no, I believe in recycling, but this is going. Like, it's just going. I don't need this. And it's just taking up room. I don't use it anymore. I'm not going to reuse it on something else that I can think of. So, get rid of a few of those. That helps create some shelf space. The main thing is, you just got to get a routine, I think, for me anyway, and go through and make sure you're not holding onto stuff for too long. Make sure everything's organized. But I'll do a second video about this from Coen scale modeling video, because it was really good. He's a guy that, it's a long video, but he's been through a couple different hobby rooms, I guess I call them. And like his second one he set up in his house a few years ago, he had the opportunity to move into another room and fix it up. And it was bigger than his other one, which is super helpful, especially when you've got dioramas on shelves and stuff. So, but, it's just getting rid of stuff. And another good point that I think we've all dealt with this. If you're working, say, I'll put this tank out here. Like, I'm working on this tank, and it's never this far. It's right up here. This phone that I'm filming with is right at the edge of the bench. That is where I literally work, at the edge. So when I'm working, back here, he brought up something great that I have experienced all the time here. And that's when you're starting to work, and pretty soon things start moving in. Things start moving in, and they move in, and they move in, whatever it may be. And pretty soon you're just surrounded by stuff. And I always thought of it, before I heard him talk about it, I thought about it like the Trash Compactor in Star Wars. And that's kind of what it felt like, is I'm at the bench, but I'm surrounded by stuff. And really wanted to get back to a situation where I'm working at a bench that's clear. I don't have stuff on the bench. The only stuff I really want on the bench is whatever I'm using to work on that build at the moment. So right now, the enamel thinner, I don't need this. Why is this here? Because I haven't found a place to put it, which I have a place to put it. So just things like that, right? You just over time putting stuff away. I got a little tray over here that's holding things for now for this build, but it just get bogged down. But I don't know. I needed it to happen, because I just wasn't. That's one thing about not building it here. I wasn't really enjoying the room anymore. All my scale model library is in here. It's to the right of me. I'll show that in a future video. But I took the old vinyl record bookshelf, which was a perfect size for that, and I just put it over here at the side of this bench, facing away. And then I can go in between that and the closet doors where my stash is, and I've got room. I've got well over a couple of feet there where I can look and find whatever book I need that's handy. And it's got an open back to it, so I can see a lot of the books and grab them from here. So getting there. Anyway, like I said, I'd like to do another video more on the cave when I get it done, and just kind of talk about that stuff that works for me, and the things I learned from Coen scale model video. Like I said, the dresser drawer, that was a great save there, and it looks good. It just looks better. Where it's sitting before was a corner table that held my Mac computer and maybe 20 little jars of paint. Like that's all that thing did, and it took up, what was that, four? It was 3 foot by 3 foot table. So it was a good for this room. This room isn't real big, so that's a good size of surface area that's taking up room. Now I've got something there that holds tons and tons of stuff and takes up a little less than half the room. So it's just I know I sound cliche when I'm talking about this, but you know it's a learning process because you know you do want the place you work at to be, I don't know, to just have a good time and be comfortable in it, not be worried about stuff toppling down, knocking you in the head, or you know, looking at kits. That's another thing. Before I go, I'll just say I've sold a lot of kits. I had kits I didn't even know I'd bought, of course, through the years, and so I went through and just absolutely. I've sold probably in the last 4 months. I've probably sold 50 kits, and that's still, you know, that put a good dent in the stash. But I'd like to sell more. I'd like to get it back down. I know they're costing more and stuff, but there's some you buy, you think you're going to build it, you want to build it, and then you don't build it for 4 years. And I just don't like. I'm not a collector. I don't want to keep them, and so I want to sell them to somebody that builds them. And I'll still have plenty to build. I've got tanks, planes, automobiles, lots to build those. So anyway, I hope you guys had a good summer. It was a rough one here. We had a lot of fires, of course. In fact, I think the biggest fire in the United States was about 50 miles west of me. So we had to deal with a lot of smoke. Fortunately, I don't think there was any loss of life between the Idaho and Oregon fires. I hope that's right. I don't think there was. Some people lost animals. Lost a lot of it was just tough. My favorite camping spot's Toast too. So I'll have to find another one, and that's too bad because what a beautiful place that was. Anyway, that was just out in the wilderness. Some nice mountains of trees and little meadows and grass and rivers that kind of fall down into the behind the cliff walls and stuff. But it happens. So I hope everybody's doing good out there. I'm finally getting back into it here and back to watching some of your videos. Looks like everybody's doing good, and I like seeing everybody having fun building, and I'm trying to get there myself. So I've gabbed enough. I'll talk to you guys later. Until the next video, Hinterland out.